The first example of the fire mapper is going to be what we consider single mapping. For this, we're going to use the example of a first name for a patient. You can see that on the right-hand side, there's going to be fire mapping. This is where you're going to enter in the information. For the resource, it's going to be patient. And that will pop up when you start typing. For this, we are going to use name/given. All of the elements that are under patient are going to populate here, so you can choose which one you want. Over on the action tag, it will automatically populate with an @fire mapping tag, and then patient, the resource, name given, the element. This is important because the action tag is going to show up in the data dictionary. So if you were to want to share your project with another person, you could download the data dictionary, re-upload it into a REDCap project, and all of your fire mappings would populate once you enable the external module. Once you save this, you can see that whereas before this was blank, it now has a red @fire mapping to let you know that it has been mapped. The next example is going to be what we would consider complex mappings, which are different than what we just saw with the single mapping, where it's just going to be one element for the resource. This time we're going to be mapping multiple different elements for that same resource. The example that we're using is going to be height. For this, the resource is going to be observation. And again, it starts to populate all of the possible answer choices. For this one, you're going to choose value, quantity, value. Under additional elements, which did not show before on the single mapping, this time you're going to need them. So you can see that the things that are required automatically populate here. So status final is required per fire specifications, as well as the code that you're going to use. The system automatically populates as well for LOINC code. If you were to want to use something that is non-standard, such as SNOMED, you would need to enter in that code system per fire specifications. Otherwise, you can just use whatever system is populated by the fire mapper. For the value, you're going to enter that in. From here, if you are done, you can save and exit, or if you want, you can add in additional values and fields. The difference between these two is that to add a value means that you are the one typing in the information. Adding in a field means that there is already a REDCap field that holds that information that you need to link it to. For this one, we're going to use add value. We're going to add in a category, so category coding code. You can see that this system populates as well. For the terminology, HL7 code system observation. Height is a vital sign. Those values are pulled from the fire specifications. From here, we're going to add a field. This time, we're going to tell it what date or time that we are referencing. Once you start entering in whatever name you've given your REDCap field, it will populate, and you just simply select the field that you want to reference. For unit, we're going to add a field because there is a REDCap field that holds our unit. If there wasn't, then you would need to do add value and then enter in whatever unit, such as centimeters or kilograms. We're now going to add a note text because this is also an example of a multiple mapping, complex mapping with multiple instances. So this note text allows us to tag this as the baseline visit because you will be capturing your height at multiple different time points over the course of your project, and having this note text field is going to let you, when you're looking at your JSON format for the fire mapping, to be able to quickly find the height for the baseline visit. Now that we're done, you can see that now the action tag is quite a bit more complicated than before. So everything is here in the correct format. When you save it, it's going to again give you that @fire mapping action tag. The next thing that we're going to demo is a new feature that allows you to export everything that is not mapped to a fire resource and element to the questionnaire. To do this, you're actually going to do it under the currently enabled modules. Unlike your normal fire mapping, which is done within your REDCap project, you click on Configure. You can see that you have the URL, the JSON, the scope, and then you have this box that's currently unchecked. Include any unmapped fields under the questionnaire resource. You check that box, save it, and now any unmapped fields will be mapped to questionnaire automatically. It's important to note that this will include any fields that are referenced in your complex mapping, as well as any fields that are marked as identifiers. So it is up to the researcher to think about if they want to do a bulk export to questionnaire, or if they want to go in and mark each field individually. The next thing we're going to demo is going to be sending to a remote fire server. The first example is going to show what sending with errors looks like. So for this, you're going to go to your record status dashboard. You're going to click on your individual subject. You can see that all of the information has been filled out for their data collection instruments. You're going to go to choose action for record, send fire bundle to remote fire server. You can see that it gives you the following error messages. These are things that were not mapped correctly to fire per the specifications. You'll need to go back into your project, correct any of these errors, and then retry to send to the remote fire server. These error messages are important because it keeps any data that is invalid from being sent. This next example is going to show what sending to a remote fire server without any error messages looks like. Follow the same process: record status dashboard, individual participant, choose action for record, send fire bundle to remote fire server. And as you can see, you get an alert that says the remote fire server has confirmed that the data has been successfully received. You're going to close this, go under external modules, received fire resources. And as you can see, at 9:23, the bundle was received and you can download.